Hello and welcome to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at Yas Marina circuit. Now, you might have noticed that my McLaren is maxed out and you might ask, why aren't you choosing that one? I will tell you why I'm not choosing that one. Because I can't earn Principal XP with it. Now, I'm going to let race 1 start while I keep talking about some of this strategy. So, in all 9 Grand Prix events, there's only enough Principal XP to max out 4 Principals. And there's 10 cars. So you've really got to be careful with that Principal XP if you want to max out more than 1 car. Now, since I've already got the McLaren maxed out, and that's a pretty good car, I am pretty set up if there's more time trial competitions, although this Mercedes does seem to be the fastest car in the 2020 series. So I might end up wanting to buy all that Principal XP at some point. I really don't know right now. I don't like spending the gold if I don't have to. And it's going to be 433 additional gold to max out this Principal. All of them is what that costs the same thing regardless of the car. And gold is the hardest thing to come by in this game. It's what you covet the most. And I have a lot, but that's because I'm super stingy with it. Like my Porsche 919 Hybrid Evo. I waited probably 1.5 years after I earned that car before I fully upgraded it because I was waiting for a sale. It might not have been that long, it might have been longer, I don't know, but I waited and waited, and now I'm happily driving it, but woo, that's a really expensive car. So, for now, I'll be collecting Principal XP, and I'm going to be reviewing this in future Grand Prix events. Something different about this particular Grand Prix event, you will not be able to do this one without spending gold. It's not possible. You will have to spend gold to finish the last stage. So that's a new thing. They haven't done that with us before, but that's where we are now, and I guess we'll see how that goes. Probably won't be too much, so I'll probably spend it on my driver, because if I max out my driver, I open up the Invitational Series. I don't have to have 1 Principal level up to enter the Invitational Series, and that's where I could get some great earnings. Now, it's a lot more gold to max out a driver than it is to max out a Principal, but it's also a lot more benefit. 774 gold is needed to maximize a driver versus 433 gold to maximize a Principal. And of course, with my McLaren, I did both because I wanted something that could be really good in time trials, and that was pretty good for me because I did get some Group A finishes with that car, and that was great. Now, here we are, racing at Yas Marina, and you might have done this in the 2019 series, you might have already done this in the some of the 2020 content. Track hasn't really changed that I can tell from 2019. I'm just not used to driving it in the 2020 cars. Like, I did this just a little bit in those series, but I was taking it easy. Here I'm pushing it a little bit harder and realizing that, okay, well, with my car set up the way it is right now, I can drive it in deeper than I was in 2019. Also, this Mercedes has incredible brakes compared to the other cars, and incredible grip and incredible acceleration. It really suffers in the top speed category versus the other cars, but overall, as you might notice from the PR levels, it is capable of the fastest lap times. So it's not going to hit the fastest speeds down the straights, but overall it's going to set the fastest time. So it's a really forgiving car because a lot of us end up having trouble in corners. I mean, how often do you lose it on a straight? You know, it's pretty easy to drive a car in a straight line. Now, here we are getting into this one where there is a speed requirement, which did get me a bit nervous. Something else I'm going to be doing in this event is I will only be buying tuning when I need it. And I will be doing 0 bot management, 0 bot slowing. I'm going to run this as fast as I can the whole time. I'm going to try to get first every single time. I want to make this as hard as I can because it's a required PR event, and those are usually quite easy for me. So I'm going to really be pushing it, and that's going to show you how hard or easy this is. Some of you have been getting the word hard appearing above these events. Now, I'm not getting that. I don't know if anyone on iOS is. It's a test that they're doing. And I really don't think this is going to be hard. Required PR events usually are not for me. That's just my experience. I usually find them quite easy. But that NASCAR event at Richmond had some pretty challenging stages for some people, and myself included. Some of those continuous drafting stages got pretty difficult with the bots trying to shake you off their tail. As much as a lot of people hated that, I actually liked it because it felt more like real racing to me. Like, you know, you're trying to draft and someone's trying to shake you. It's kind of what happens in real racing. But anyhow, that was then. This is Yas Marina. So this track, it is a fast-flowing track. Like, we do have a couple of sharp corners, but you can really round them out and oops. And don't do that. Sometimes I do that on that corner, end up going into the gravel. Now, I'm also not used to driving this car with no tuning. I mean, obviously I did it once before at Red Bull Ring. That's where I used this car. And I haven't driven it for a while. So it takes a little while to adjust to a car when you haven't been behind the wheel for a bit. And I didn't do any adjusting. I just got in, hit record, and you're seeing what happens. So if I make a mistake, you're seeing it. I'm not going to start over just because I slid off track a little bit. You're just gonna, I'll share it all with you. And as you see, you know, sometimes I get a little bit rough. Sometimes I'm pushing the boundaries of track limits. But, see, sometimes some people get some people actually get quite nasty because they say, oh, you don't have all 4 tires within the white line at all times. Well, neither do a lot of people in actual racing. Like, if you watch a race at Spa and at different circuits, there are times on certain corners that they have all 4 tires on the other side of the white line. Like, in actual racing, if you're not always pushing the legal limits, you're probably going to get fired because you're going to be so much slower than the competition. So, definitely on certain points, you can't have any tires below the lines. I know that that's the rules. But sometimes you can, and you'll see that guys push it. So what I'm getting at is, in this game, we gotta push the limits that we've got. And that's what's gonna make you faster, and that's what your competition is doing. So if you ever say to yourself, how come I can't earn very much in time trials? That's probably because you're not pushing the limits, and the other guys are. Now in this track, you can do some off-track cutting if you want to, if you're having trouble. Or if you just want to finish faster, you could cut some corners. You don't need to. You'll notice that once in a while I'll make a mistake and I might totally cut a corner. But a lot of the time, again on that same corner, a lot of the time I am within the limits that the game requires. Real Racing 3 only requires that you have 1 tire on track during time trials. So you can have 3 tires off track. Sounds kind of crazy, but you can. I've tested it. A lot of people have tested it. So there we go, stage 1. This is going by really easy. I'm guessing this is where I have to add tuning. And let's just get into this here. Yes, I definitely have to add tuning. Now, I'm not going to be adding this up as I go along. I will be doing all of this in stage 5. That's where I will share my final costs. I will also share all of my earnings. So I will total everything. Fame, M dollars, driver XP, principal XP, every single thing. And I'll share that all in stage 5 because only at that point will I actually know. Oof, I overshot that corner. Now, we're getting some longer races in stage 1, and that's okay. Gives you some decent M earnings, which we always need, those M dollars. So, part of this was learning how bot programming has changed. You're going to notice, like on those out laps or those partial laps, man, these bots are driving, well, to be frank, they're driving really stupid. Like, they're just driving in the wrong places on the track. You wouldn't drive there. They don't drive there in any subsequent laps. So part of what you have to figure out when you're starting in a new circuit is where are the bots going to drive? Where can you overtake them? Which, of course, is what you have to figure out in real racing. So here I'm noticing, okay, I can go there. That's a good place. That's a fun little section there. This section, the bots like to go far down to the right. So if you're drafting, you got to follow them. But there's really no reason to do that. It's going to be, you can stay on the far left the whole time. Here you could take this all full throttle if you wanted to. And I'm going to do that at different points. But right now, I'm really trying to get into the lead, which shouldn't be a problem. There's Hamilton. And we have quite a bit of this track left. Oh my goodness, a lot of this track left because there's a whole nother lap. Well, I need to pass 2 more cars and there's only 1 car in front of me. Obviously, It didn't mean 7 unique cars, which is the wording they've been using lately. So I'll overtake Hamilton, let him take me back. I'm going to do that right away. Come on, Hamilton, get going. You get on the gas now, and then we'll say goodbye to all these guys. Maybe I'll catch a little bit of draft. Nah, he seems really slow. Let's just boogie on through this. Part of this is also figuring out where are your braking points. And of course, this will vary by car. Cars can vary quite a lot. So some cars have, some of them, the brakes are quite a lot different. The grip in these cars is pretty similar, but this car is at the top of the top of the spectrum for grip. The Mercedes and the Red Bull car have the top grip. They're tied for the best grip. Mercedes has best brakes and best acceleration. As you can see, I'm speeding ahead quite nicely. It's an interesting combination, having the best brakes and the best acceleration and tied for best grip. So you can brake late going into the corners, take the corners a little bit faster, and then power out quicker than everyone else. And that's why this car gets away with having the worst top speed of all 2020 cars in Real Racing 3. Again, I'm losing into that section. Don't worry, I'll get it dialed in yet. In this section, you can take full throttle. If you gotta watch your trajectory, and then there, I was not watching my trajectory, and I really blew this, so let's just cross backwards because it was just such a gong show right at the end there. And that is basically gonna wrap up stage 1. If you like what you're seeing, please press like, and please subscribe if you haven't done so. Thank you. So, thank you for joining me today in stage 1, and oh yes, we get a free livery, another one for the 2019 Academy car. I'll keep on pumping these out. Thank you for joining me today.